It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good morning guys, 21st of August 2019, 8 AM CET, 7 AM London, meaning it's time for pre-London Open only here on Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Piotr here. Within the next few minutes we are going to connect with our macro guy, with Michał, and we will go through a few charts, but as usual guys, let's start with risk warning. Please bear in mind trading effects on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors who can sustain a loss of some or all initial investments, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Okay, friendly reminder, later today 2 PM CET or 1 PM London, we are going to cover Canadian inflation data live. You are more than welcome to join me again, 2 PM CET, 1 PM London, 8 AM New York, if you wish. Whatever you are, it's gonna be my pleasure. Now, Jackson's Hole is upcoming Friday, 4 PM. We are going to have a Powell, and it could be decisive for the market with the further direction. Okay, what we have right now, where we are right now. We are going to talk about the Merkel comment in relation to the backstop, market reaction on the cable. We are going to talk about the euro dollar and the current levels a little bit below 111, still above weekly open. We are going to talk about the dollar yen and the move towards eventually 107, 30. Okay, so let's have a look what we have from the calendar perspective, besides the Canadian CPI, and to be honest with you, nothing extraordinary during the European session, only public sector net borrowing from the UK and the German 30-year bond auction. Then, as I mentioned before, 2:30 PM CET Canadian CPI, then 4 PM CET or 3 PM London existing home sales from the US, and 4:30 PM CET or 3:30 PM London crude oil inventories. And during the second part of the US session, FOMC meeting minutes. Yeah, I wonder if we are going to get something there. Think that we got everything during the Powell press conference. Don't forget tomorrow also the PMI day, especially me and probably market going to focus on the German data. That might be the key with the current euro dollar levels. Yesterday, right ahead, we were live yesterday when the Merkel comment hit the market, and we saw this huge cable spike. It was right ahead of the option expiration, so the option traders were extremely busy at that time. Anyway, what we have today, taking into the consideration what we are trading, so 1160, 600 million might be the key, but it's still 60 pips away to the upside. On the other hand, when we are talking about the dollar yen, We trading 106.50. 106 is around 1 billion. 106.75 around 800 million. Nothing extraordinary when would you like to talk about the different currency pairs. Okay, so looks like it's time to try to connect with Michał. So guys, stay with us. We will be back within a few seconds. Good morning, Mr. Michał.
Good morning, Mr. Peter.
How are you doing?
Mr. Piotr. Pretty good. Better than yesterday, I guess.
Wow, nice.
And you?
Always fine.
Always fine. like in US. You are from the US, I guess.
Always fine.
Okay. Maybe we could start from the euro and pound perspective, because yesterday, in the beginning of the week, we saw that we received a message from the UK that Boris Johnson sent a letter to the European Council, Donald Tusk, in which he indicated that the deal could be approved by the Parliament if the provision for the backstop for the Irish border would be removed from the deal. Yeah, in response, the European Commission officials said that the Johnson didn't give any alternative solution to prevent the introduction of this rigid Irish border, and there is no guarantee that such decisions will be worked out in the future. And yeah, we also saw the response from the Donald Tusk via Twitter. But as you mentioned before, the statement from Frau Angela Merkel was properly said. Was showing that what we spoke yesterday, I guess, about the timing of the Boris Johnson, that he could. He waited for the perfect moment to meet with the German and French officials, and we see that a little bit of weakness, right? They're considering this recession as a strategy for the anti-Trump plan, and that Boris Johnson could make we can say two goose in one flame, one fire, one flame, yeah, something like that. On one hand, he could have this better deal with the EU. At the same time, when they settled the problem with the Irish border, he could have a good deal with the US, right? Because they also said that it is like the main problem that it's stopping them to make a fast deal with the UK. And so I think that that helped yesterday the pound to gain strength. And if that could be if we will see those actions come to life, will become flesh, we might see spike high on a pound, right?
So let's have a look. Let's have a look on the chart. What is going on both euro and the pound? Let's start with the pound. We discussed it yesterday. The strong rally. We were even trying to trade just few pips, but green is green. There was a little bit deeper pullback, but finally they didn't hit the levels I've been waiting for. If you remember, before we left, I placed an order to buy something in between 21.05 and 29.90, but we didn't hit that level. So for now, where we are and what might happen, we are testing Monday high. It's a third time, right? Now, I mean, we retest Friday high on Monday, yesterday, and today during the Tokyo session, and there is another rejection going on. Now the thing is, it's good to check where we are from higher time frame perspective, taking into the consideration the whole move to the downside on cable starting May 2019, and where we are in that case. I've been looking for a biggest correction, and it happened here in the mid of June, and I think that you know, because we are very close to 120 level, and it's clearly visible that there's some profit taking going on the pound. I've been thinking how high from the bear's perspective can we go, and without the harm for the sellers. So in my opinion, we can create some kind of either we can put the falling trend line on the chart, or we can even create the falling channel here like this. All right, and if we are going to make that measure of this biggest correction, as you can see, at some point there is a chance, right, that at some point it's good. If we are about to make such a move, we are going to hit the top of that channel. So I think that something a little bit bigger might happen. I mean, a little bit bigger spike towards 123. You know, I'm not gonna be surprised to see the prices higher, but why 123? Equal moves, that's the one thing. That's also 50% of the range we've seen on the 29th of July, and the top of the channel. So that might be the level, maybe not level, maybe zone, something around 123 or higher from the bear's perspective. So yes, that's how I see the things from the bear's side, meaning that the patience is needed. I'm not saying we cannot fall from here. What I'm saying that if you cannot move the market, wait and see what is going to happen. So something around 123. That's what I'm looking for. Especially that from the bulls perspective, what happened yesterday, it was another close above the top of the range we've seen on the 9th of August. So first time we closed above. Let me show you what I'm talking about. First time we closed above, it was last Friday. Then Monday, based on what you were saying, we got back inside, and yesterday, because of the Merkel comment, or it was a good explanation that it's because of the Merkel, that's how we have to approach this, we got back above. So now, if you remember what we were discussing yesterday, I'm looking for a possibility to try to join the party to the upside. Yesterday we were trying to buy on this latest on the place where we've seen the latest weakness. Still today I'm going to look for buying opportunity. Yeah, first around 21.15, but I do prefer the lower levels, so I'm going to try to buy again between the Monday low and 2090 on cable. So let's switch to euro pound, because here we were discussing yesterday that there is a chance for 0.92 plus. Unfortunately, the news from the Frau Merkel hit the market, and we saw the pound strength also versus euro. So looks like, at least for now, the move towards 92.05 might be delayed, and we might see the continuation of the bear flag here. So just a retest of 91.60, and we might see move lower towards 90. So I'm going to watch very carefully. Of course, those moves and comments between EU and UK will influence the market short term. And finally, euro dollar, not big changes. The only thing worth to mention that we are trying to hold the swing low This one, the swing low created at the very beginning of this month. Move back above the weekly open, that positive retest the weekly open during the Tokyo session. So we will see. From the bigger perspective, still, I would say that we are inside the range here between 12.25, 12.50 to the upside and 10.50 to the downside. And I do not expect big fireworks today. We might see something around the FOMC, but I think that the market is waiting for PMI tomorrow, especially we'll focus on the German data, and probably Friday Powell's speech during the Jackson Hole symposium. So that's how we looks like from the euro-dollar perspective. Back to you, Michał.
I just about the pound. I would like to just add that the pound was rising, even though that this latest manufacturing orders from the Confederation of British Industrialists index was negative consecutive from the fifth month. So yeah, we see how the responses, how the talks from the politicians, politics, influence much the market. We see right now that they are mostly play of the politics, not the central banks. I think also that yesterday we talked a lot about Japan, so about this new trade war, and I think that's also the case, that they want to have a voice in those trade wars. Because we spoke also before that the Bank of Japan is run out of tools, so I think that's also the case. And okay, maybe we go further for the US. Yeah, we have the information that they extended those permissions for the Huawei about the cooperation with the US companies for the next 90 days, and also they blacklisted 46 branches of the Huawei, and response also that it's unfair and it's politically motivated from the Chinese side. And we see, according to Washington Post, the White House is actively discussing the possibility of the temporary reduction in the payroll tax, and another measure for the stimulating is the possible reduction of the Fed rate. But I think we will have to wait for some hints about that from Powell's speech.
Election game. We can call it election game.
See how you see they are stating that the White House is actively discussing, but how they can discuss it's all about Fed, right? They make the decisions, not
exactly. But we know that there is a huge pressure from the White House administration towards the Fed, towards the Powell, especially the new idea about the 1% cut. That's blow my mind,
out of cosmos. Yeah,
it's out of the question. There are few more comments hitting the market that the different names. I would say the investors are saying that the US rates are gonna finally are going to get the direction of the whole world, meaning that at some point US rates are going to get back to zero, and we had this discussion quite a few times already. I mean, it's already election game, right? So one side is that Trump is trying to pump the market because that's the only way probably he can win, right? On the other hand, and we were pointing this out some time ago, on the other hand, he showed his cards already, right? Meaning that if he cannot tweet about new high on the stocks, meaning that something is wrong. So his opponents exactly know what's gonna be their game, meaning showing the possibility of the upcoming recession, stuff like this, because I think there is a collision in the Mr. President Trump thinking that on one hand he's saying, wow, great, super, our economy is doing very, very well, but then asking Powell to cut by 1%, it's something completely wrong, and that's where the collision is. So so we know what cards are going to be played by his opponents in this upcoming election game.
Yeah, about this his misleading comments, right? I think he he knows something, and he knows that the lower rates will positively influence and delay the upcoming recession. But you know, the recession in the mostly will we see we were talking about this.
But who is the biggest beneficiary of the low rates and money printing? You, me? Come on, guys, wake up!
Of course,
hey.
of course not.
So, Mr.
You
President,
know, he's trying to you know, like play this game for the elections. But what I see in the U.S. U.S. news, that yeah, Americans starting to see that they are doing pretty good under the Trump rule, right? We saw that the stats that the Dow Jones, S&P, and Nasdaq since January 2017, they gained 30, 27, and 42%.
Manipulation. The market is not free anymore, and we were laughing. Market is not free anymore. It's usually, you know, when there is a U.S. Open. You don't need the Bloomberg right now. You don't need Reuters. You just need President Trump Twitter account to be open, and then you know what to trade. How come? Come on. Where is SEC? Anyway, because this is a huge manipulation. Come on. Anyway, let's try to check what is going on when we are talking about the indices and the risk on, risk off, the most related crosses, I mean dollar yen. So let's have a look. Let's start with the dollar yen. Not big changes to what we discussed yesterday. Monday we saw a little bit of the rally towards the top of the range. Yesterday we saw the rejection. Today during the Tokyo session, another attempt to go higher. So again, I think to the upside. We are limited towards 107, 107.30. So that's where I'm going to try to fade eventually the rally. And in case of the stronger move to the downside, it's worth to watch 105.30, 105, the bottom of the consolidation. Oops. The bottom of that consolidation of that range. It's worth to mention. So here is no change. Trying to sell top of the consolidation, trying to buy the bottom of the consolidation. Based on the Goldman Sachs analysis or forecast, the analyst expecting within the 3 months horizon that dollar yen is going to hit 103. Of course, they did not discover the America, because that's what we discussed yesterday as well. In case we agree that with the dollar yen, we are ranging every few days, right, like this. So then the break to the downside from current consolidation, as you can see, is opening 103. So we spoke about that well ahead of the Goldman. But anyway, you know, it's good to mention that what Goldman thinks. So from dollar yen perspective, that's how I see the things. Not big changes, and I think the upcoming market. What could be the upcoming market mover here? I think the minutes later today, FOMC minutes, then probably Friday Powell speech during the Jackson Hole Jackson's Hole symposium. So let's switch to the Nasdaq here. It didn't happen. So yesterday during our afternoon meeting, I've been trying to look for a stop count above yesterday and Monday high and try to reject. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. The good thing is that the prediction of the market move was correct. So congratulations if you were able, or if you managed to grab few points to the downside. Now, what next from the stock market perspective? Again, probably we are going to have a discussion and expectation about the rates, what next for the market. And you know, whenever we have talks about the rates and whatever White House administration is trying to pressure the FOMC, my way of thinking is, and I've been talking about this during the last FOMC, I've been talking about this previously. If we are going to see aggressive cut, market is scary already because of this latest cut, small but cut, right? Meaning that something is going on, right? So I think Fed doesn't want to scare the market. So if everything is alright, we are not gonna cut. Back to you.
Yeah, you just said I think almost everything. I wanted to just joke about this 100 basis points that maybe he want to like push the demand, so the Fed could at least those 50 points which he asked previously to make for him, right? And yeah, but about this, yeah, talking seriously, I don't think if we will see still the good macro data from the U.S. economy, I don't think it will happen, right? Because I don't know. Right now, also the trade wars with China are like no big bounces, only with this Huawei. But you see about this new permission, it was like the it was pump. We will have this. We will extend it probably. They did, but they also blacklisted all those rest 46 branches, and yeah, the market didn't act as bad as good about the previous information. So I think I think it's we will not see this cut at the in the next I don't know what should happen, what macro data should be, what bad macro data should be, or what Donald Trump should do to the Chinese to force Fed right now to cut the rates. You never know.
One more thing here, it's worth to mention that you know, we see the number of the discussion recession related is increasing. But guys, for you, for me, if we cannot move the market, don't forget that the market may stay longer manipulated than what you can afford to hold, right? Meaning, what I'm trying to say is, because I know it from my perspective, that trying to position yourself right now from the long-term perspective on the short side, market may still for the next 3 months or a half year go much higher before we'll crash. So that's what is worth to take into the consideration. Anyway, Michał, thank you very much for your inputs. It was a pleasure to talk to you today. Are you going to join us during the Canadian data?
Yes, of course, 2 p.m.
2 p.m. So we are going to have a short conversation about the Canadian dollar. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Same to you. Same to you all.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So with Nasdaq, still we have this supply we discussed for quite some time around current levels. But then don't forget what we discussed yesterday as well. That in case of the equal moves to the upside, 7,000. Let me show you. 7,850, 7,900 still possible to the upside. That would be a retest of this old demand which has been broken. So right now it should works as a supply, never been tested. So that would be the good point to retest this level. So be careful trying to short current market levels with the big exposure, right? Because of the possibility that the prices might go a little bit higher. No change when we are talking about the gold. Still, the range I think will persist towards Friday Powell speech. So to the upside, we are talking about the levels close to 1530, 1535. To the downside, we are talking about the levels close to 1485, 1480, and crude. Here, I think market will try to push a little bit higher. There is a untested supply close to 5840, and then finally 5960 levels. So that's what I'm eventually looking for based on what we've seen yesterday, right? We were discussing yesterday, either we are going to see the break and prices to go higher, or we are going to get back below the line. There was an attempt to get back below, but finally lower shadow, so market is trying to go higher from here. If that's the case, trying to figure it out what next, trying to make assumption based on the equal moves, the levels I've mentioned still possible. Guys, that was my pleasure to be with you here ahead of the London Open. Again, reminder, at 2 p.m. CET, 1 p.m. London, we are about to start our afternoon session. We are going to cover New York Open live, but mostly we are going to focus on the Canadian inflation data. That's it right now, but we are about to change a few things slightly. Usually it's a good thing to make the changes. So I'm going to mute myself right now, but the charts will stay towards the London Open, and in case of some kind of the price action worth to mention, I'm going to put the comments on the chart. So yeah, that's it from me. Have a great London session, and we can hear and talk again around the US Open, but charts right now for next few minutes are gonna be towards the London Open, are going to be available. Thank you, take care, goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, light Forex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.